Hello everybody, welcome to Chatterbox, episode 3. I'm actually a little bit surprised and impressed that we've gotten to episode 3 already. That just blows my mind. And with me is, of course, we have Dagron, my sister. Hi,
The
thank you. Thank you for joining. I know she's super tired, so I very, very much appreciate her joining us today. And then, of course, we have Just Brandon, and I'm so excited. Dagron. He changed his YouTube name to Just Brandon.
I
He
like
did
it.
it.
I was
He
just
did
going to
it.
say when you said just Brandon, I was like, oh, that is perfect.
Right? And I mean, now he just
Just
needs to
Brandon.
talk more and get more videos uploaded and all that stuff. It's awesome. I'm so
Cool.
happy for him, though.
Good
We'll
job.
see how it goes.
Yeah,
Keep it up.
just so stoked that he is here. Just so you guys know, my face is blue. It is blue. I'm checking it out on here, and I can't do much about that. I don't know if it's
Sing
because
the
of the
blue
backlight.
song.
I'm a blue guy tonight.
I'm blue.
I need to get my... I have the stuff to get proper lighting set up in this room. I just didn't have a chance to get to it tonight. I had to get my baby boy down, right, for sleep, and he didn't want to go to sleep tonight. And he's still technically awake, so we'll see how this goes, but...
That's all good. You can make blue look good tonight.
I'm going
It's
to make
fine.
blue look good. I'm going to look
Blue
good with
is in.
That's right.
Blue
But yes.
is sexy.
Just Brandon. We can officially call him that now, and I'm
Yeah.
very, very happy. Oh, and he's sick, so we're definitely having some trials tonight. We got one person exhausted and one
Yay.
other person sick, and I'm actually doing perfect, so go me.
Nice.
One of us has to be.
One of us has to be. It better be the guy with all the equipment and stuff, right? But tonight is a very exciting night. We will be discussing Final Fantasy up the you-know-what. We love Final Fantasy. Us three, we are big Final Fantasy fans, man. But first, before we do that, I have an exciting announcement to tell you guys. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I beat a video game today. I beat
Yeah.
one.
The
beat
Sonic the
that.
Hedgehog one.
You got it! Oh my
That's
god, I was
nice.
gonna have you guess, but yes, I finished
Oh,
the
good
murder
guess.
of
There's
Sonic
a reason
the
you're
Hedgehog.
blue.
Oh, there you go. That fits perfectly with it. We'll roll with that. That's exactly why I'm blue. It's not from lighting
Exactly.
issues. It's because I
You
just
know-
beat another Sonic game.
And you're celebrating.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just celebrating. But yes, I beat the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. It's only like 2 to 3 hours long. I can't believe it took me this long to beat it in the first
wow.
place. Yeah, it's just a simple visual novel that this indie team made thanks to Sega's blessing. They gave them the go-ahead to do it for April Fools. And that's really cool. I love it when bigger companies give their projects to smaller studios to see what they can come up with. And Sega's done that a lot with Sonic, and it's been great. That's how we got Sonic Mania, for example, which is a phenomenal game if you haven't played it. But this one was really good too, and I really enjoyed it. As a visual novel person that's been really into that for the last couple of years, I have to say I highly recommend you, even if you don't like Sonic, or if you're not sure about this, that this is one you should play, especially since it's free, right? It's a free game on Steam, so you have no reason to not play The Murder
Gotta
of
pick
Sonic
it up.
the Hedgehog.
I downloaded it, so I'll play it at some point.
Good, good.
In other words, 2 years from now is what he meant by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, see? He knows. He laughed.
Yeah. So if you guys can play that for me, man, we can discuss the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. And I want to know if you guessed who the murderer was. I got it correct.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. Like right off the bat, I said that's the person. Just for fun. And then as I was going along, I was like, oh my gosh, it actually is going to end up being that person. So,
It's like I'm getting murder vibes from this one person. That's it.
dude, I'm telling you, that's how I do it. I also, coincidentally, guys, just finished another game called Collar X Malice, which is another murder mystery / Otome visual novel. Right? You get to date a bunch of dudes. Yanagi Best Boy, but that's not important.
Good boy.
Best
fun.
Boy. And I also it took me about 35 hours to finish that game, and I within the first hour guessed correctly who the killer was.
Of course you did.
Been reading too much Agatha Christie or something, man. I just get those instincts, man. But yeah, also I finished that one like 2 days ago, and I really enjoyed that one as well. So I'm having a great week of finishing.
Busy
video
boy.
games.
Sorry.
Yeah. Have you guys played anything fun before we get into Final Fantasy? You want to share with the people listening?
That's new from the last time we talked. Nothing's changed.
It doesn't
so
have
no.
to be new. It can still be the same thing.
You want to hear my ramblings about Valheim? Actually, I haven't even played Valheim much lately, and I've been really sad about it. I've just been too busy. So,
Yeah, I get that.
oh well.
I
Maybe next week.
I started Disco Elysium, so it's been fun.
Oh.
You were supposed to tell me you started that. What is
Oh,
wrong
I
with
was
you?
gonna
Well, I
say.
started it last night, so I
No,
figured
no,
I'd
no,
just
no,
tell
no.
you today.
You're in trouble, Brandon.
What the heck? Why are we even friends right now?
Oh,
I already
busted.
played this game, right? And I love this game. And I told you when you
Busted
start it,
bitch.
you need to let me know so
It's
I
just
can
one
have
day
it
late.
played.
I told you.
One day late in Disco Elysium can make a huge difference.
Okay.
Huge difference. There's multiple endings and lots of choices.
I know. You
Alright.
now see. We're gonna spend like the next hour just talking about this. Now you got
We're not going
Brad
to be
all
talking about
excited.
this. I'm just a little bit disappointed because now I don't even know where he's at, and I can't have the spoiled conversation because my sister Allie's in here, so I can't figure out what you're doing. Oh my gosh, Brandon, why would you do this to me?
Well, we can
Steve?
talk about it later.
It just goes to show you, Dagron, never trust a sick person to do
Hey, yeah,
anything
I've been
right.
sick.
Yeah,
So I have an excuse.
his mind was not in the right place, so he's like, I'm gonna click on play.
Okay. I already have it downloaded, and I'm going to be bringing it to Utah through the Steam Deck. It's compatible through the Steam Deck, so I'm going to be starting it new because I played this on PC, but it's going to be, I won't have any of the save data. So this will work out. This will work out.
It was a very
Fair.
impulse. I wasn't even planning on playing it, but I was just like, since Elden Ring had no story, I want to play a game with story and dialogue, and this seems like
Don't
it.
insult Elden Ring. We had that full discussion how there was
Yeah,
a story.
yeah.
It's a
Meh.
choose your own adventure book that doesn't describe anything, and then you have to read the appendix to figure out anything.
Yeah.
Impulsively clicked on play because he was all drugged up on Dayquil.
See, that's what
could
he
be.
should have said. That's what he should have said, but he didn't. He just said, you know what, I want a game with a really captivating story, and I'm going to pick Disco Elysium, and it's an amazing game. So yeah. Okay, Allie, it looks like I'm going to be starting Disco Elysium again.
Okay.
It's been a while. I think that game came out in 2019, so it's been 4 years. Oh my gosh.
It was like it was just yesterday.
Yeah, 4 or 3 years ago, something like that. Anyways, but now I'm glad that we started that. He's playing Disco Elysium without me. That really
Are
grinds
you
my
really that
gears.
surprised?
Yes.
It's just Brandon.
Yeah, I know
That's
it's
such
just
a
Brandon, but
thing to
it's-
do.
It is. He does this all the time, and it drives me nuts.
What have you got to say for yourself, Mr. Just Brandon?
I don't like texting that much, so I figured I'd just talk to him later.
I'll just be punished later.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's beautiful, and it's sunny outside, and we can't play tennis because he's
I
sick.
know. Yeah.
That's what you get for going to that Easter egg hunt thing, dude. I told you not to go.
I told you not to go.
Told
It
me.
even rained, so I thought I was fine.
There's kids.
I guess. Yeah.
Have you not learned anything?
Touching
anytime
everything.
there's a conglomerate of little kids or children running around that brace yourself for the sickness.
I haven't
Yeah,
probably
that's
washed their hands in hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, great. So you're playing Disco Elysium. Anything else that we need to know about?
That
Nope, that's it.
he gets to unfriend you for.
Nope,
Nah, we
that's
can
it.
still be friends. But all right, great. Well, I'm glad we got that out of the way. Now we're going
Sorry,
to
we're
talk
not
about
as cool
Final
as you.
Fantasy. Now, Just Brandon. Again, we're going to jump right into Just Brandon. He made a statement right before we even started this podcast. He said Final Fantasy X is the greatest Final Fantasy to ever exist.
By far.
By far.
By far.
Well, then my question then for you, Brandon, is if Final Fantasy X is the greatest one to ever exist, give me the one reason why it stands out above the rest.
Oh boy. I'm glad it's you, not me.
Characters.
Oh, I don't know about that. You could have gone with so many things, and you went with characters. No.
The story, man.
Hang on, real
You
quick,
should have
before
said
even
story.
right, that would have been like it's a great
That would
story,
have
but
been better.
Yeah.
right, the characters are not
story
that.
and characters. I
No.
kind of just pair those together, but
No. Before we get into that, by the way,
No.
are we all in agreement that it's Titus, not Titus?
Yes.
I always say Titus. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say
Titus.
Titus
And
too. Like, It
Sounds
just
so much
sounds
better.
better. Like I don't even
So
care.
much better.
I don't even care if it's technically wrong.
No, let's not do that.
Yeah, and you can't use the Kingdom Hearts theory that, they say Tidus in Kingdom Hearts, so therefore it's Tidus. Like, that doesn't fly. That's a whole different character. It's not the same. It's a different
Yeah, when they
universe.
first said it in Kingdom Hearts, I was like, wait, no. What is this? Who is
Well,
this person you
I used to
about?
call Final Fantasy IX's main character Zidane instead of Zidane. You know?
Zidane.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Zidane,
just
right?
tomato. It's just
It's
where you
not
come from.
Zidane, is it?
It's Zidane.
No, it's not. Zidane.
Yeah, everyone calls him Zidane.
That's how it's usually pronounced, I think.
I think so, but then you got to take into context that the Square Enix just kind of does whatever they want with names that are from other cultures, and they usually get those wrong in the first place.
Yeah.
Like when the
I guess
summons
that
in
makes-
Final Fantasy X, coincidentally, they call them Aeons. That word is technically pronounced Eon, but they don't do that in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
kind of, it's like with, we called him in Final Fantasy VIII, Laguna.
That's
But
what I
it's
always call him. Well, the only reason why I call
is
him
it
Laguna.
Laguna? Is it actually Laguna?
It is Laguna. And that's fine.
See,
It sounds better, and
I mean,
actually
yeah,
don't
it's
mind
not
it.
as bad as the other ones for sure, but it's still, I don't know. You just
Well,
get used to saying things and names how.
Well, this is my logic. The only reason
sound.
why I called him Laguna in the first place is because as a character, he used a gun.
Nice.
Yeah,
So I thought it was more like a play on the word type of
right.
thing. But
I get that.
apparently it's Laguna, and that's fine. Like it sounds better, so I'm more okay with it. And I have no problems calling him Laguna going forward. But yeah, no, Laguna. And that's fine. And then
Unlike
Quistis or
Tidus.
Quistis or however you want to pronounce it. I think
Quistis.
it's French. Yeah, it's give up on that one, right? It's
I know.
just-
I say it's not Quistis, but that's
So yeah, I want to make sure we're all in agreement that it's Tidus. So when we
Yeah,
go forward here,
oh for sure.
it's
Oh my
Tidus.
gosh.
All right, Tidus just sounds terrible. Like the guy already has a really, really obnoxious laugh. All right, we don't need to drag his name. He already has like daddy issues. Let's give him this break. He can be Tidus and not Tidus.
Daddy issues. I just figured it had something to do with like water and stuff, so I was like Tidus. You know what I mean?
Like title, yeah. No,
Yeah.
his name actually means sun. Is inspired sun in
S-O-N or S-U-N?
just it doesn't S-U-N.
Okay.
Just like Yuna references moon in Japan. Sun
Oh,
and moon.
well,
That,
I didn't catch that. Maybe if I knew that before, I'd be like, well, something's gonna go down between these two.
yeah, right. So, well,
Stay
exactly.
away
see?
from the summoner.
Stay away from the summoner. Yeah. All right, so he says the characters are the best, and I just hear that though, and I think to myself, Final Fantasy X characters were fine, they were good, I liked them, but they weren't the best.
They were amazing.
Really?
No.
Who's better?
Final
Characters?
Fantasy characters? Like, are you talking like for a series total? Like, if you take all the characters from that series and then
Even one individual character who you think
One?
is better?
oh, jeez. Speaking of the devil, let's just you know what? I like Lightning more than any of the Final Fantasy X characters. I think
Lightning.
Lightning's pretty dang awesome.
That's from 13.
I do
Yeah.
love Lightning.
Oh, I haven't played it, so I guess I can't give an educated opinion on that. So maybe Lightning's good.
Lightning is good. Ash
Like,
from 12
she's
was
like
pretty
the
dang
only
good.
good thing from 13.
I
I
like
love Ash too.
Right?
Ash was great.
Ash was really good. And then, out of all the characters, like, for 10, the best character in 10 is probably my favorite is Auron, and then Yuna.
Yeah.
I love. Yep, those were my two favorites right there.
Right,
You
those
just
are the
listed them.
best.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. But, honestly, Laguna from 8 is probably better. For being a
Yeah.
side character,
Oh my
his
gosh.
impact and his story was just
I'd say-
phenomenal.
Yes.
It just delivers on every aspect. And I always say this about that is the greatest love story in all video games I've ever experienced, and I
And you
still
actually-
stand by that.
Oh my gosh, when everything just goes down, you're just like,
Mhm.
I just remember being in awe
Yeah,
and just like having so many raw emotions. Like, what is going on with me?
yeah. And then for all the endings that
Oh.
you experience in any Final
The
Fantasy that
ending.
I've ever experienced, Final Fantasy VIII delivers the best. I will stand by that too.
Yeah.
Followed very closely to 6, Allie. So when you finish 6, you
I'm
have
so
about to be.
close.
You're so
Yeah,
close. You're at the
I
cusp of it,
know.
right? 6 is really good. Is a really good. And then you guys probably haven't played this one, but Final Fantasy Type 0 has a really good ending. I
Mm.
actually like that one too.
Oh, really? I think
Yeah.
it's on my wish list, but I
Yeah,
actually haven't gotten it
the
yet.
game itself is a hit and miss in a lot of things, and it's rated M. It's like the first time where you get to see like a chocobo get beheaded.
Oh,
The chocobo.
Yeah, like they don't hold back. They're literally just
ouch.
letting people die in that game. It's kind of cool, actually.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's
so
realistic. Woohoo!
it's bloody and all that stuff, and that's Final Fantasy 16 is going to be rated M, and it's look like it's going to be a lot bloodier and grittier too.
Oh, I'm so excited for that one. I've only seen one trailer for it, and I'm like, I gotta get it.
Yeah, so.
It looks so nice.
Oh yeah, and
Great.
we'll go back to Final Fantasy 16 first, but like with characters though, Final Fantasy X's characters, I will say this though, Brandon, they were great though. Overall, there wasn't really a character I can say I didn't really care for. I didn't really like them. The only one that I maybe didn't like was Seymour, but that's
Yeah.
almost a good thing, right? Because he's, the villain. And then Kamari. Kamari didn't really do much.
Kamari was probably the most forgettable one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Seymour was
for
fascinating to me, though.
the thing that I like about Final Fantasy X characters is all of the party members have like interactions with each other. And I feel like when I play other Final Fantasy X games, they somewhat interact with the main character. They don't really super interact with each other that much. And the people who join late, they're just like, well, I'll join you, and they never talk to the rest of the cast.
Yeah. I can kind of agree to a certain extent with that. I mean, take for example, Final Fantasy VII, you could actually miss some of the characters, like Yuffie, for instance.
Yeah.
She didn't play a vital role in 7.
Yeah, but even if she joins, like, Yuffie, what is her interaction with, like, Barrett or something?
Well, they steal a bunch of stuff, and yeah, like I said, that's why I'm kind of agreeing with you to that extent.
Yeah.
But I
So,
will say
like,
this, though.
Wakka has an interaction with Titus, Wakka has an interaction with Lulu, has an interaction with Kavari. They all interact in between each other more than I think other parties of other games.
Yeah. Well, that's just good character development then, because Octopath Traveler doesn't really do that. They try to make it
Oh,
happen,
yeah,
but it feels
that's
so
like-
fake.
Yeah, that's like the
Octopath
worst
Traveler
one.
2, by the way, kind of helps. They tried it and they tweaked that method, by the
Oh,
way.
really?
Yeah, just a little bit. So you'll have to play. It's still like their own separate stories, but they do at least try to connect them, I feel, a little bit better. From what
Yeah.
I've played, I'm nowhere near finished that game. That's just one of those, I'll play it throughout the entire year, and by December I'll probably say, hey, I finished this game. But yeah. But Final Fantasy X does a great job of that. But I will say Final Fantasy 9 and 8 do a really good job of that as well.
Okay.
There are a lot of interactions between those characters. Especially
It sounds like
V-
he disagrees.
Yeah. Like, take for example.
Maybe. I don't remember as well, though.
Yeah, but Final Fantasy X is your favorite. You're always going to remember.
Yeah,
your
that's
favorite.
true. That's
Which
true.
one have you played the most of?
Yeah, definitely 10.
Yeah. You see, I played the most of 10, actually. That's
Yeah.
the one I played the most. But that's because I played a lot of Blitzball, right?
Yeah.
So, but a lot of the interactions in 9 get connected, and Steiner is always in the middle of all these comedy roles, as I call it.
Okay.
Being this rusty, armored guy that just is always comic relief. He's always interacting and getting into quarrels with Zidane. It feels weird saying it. But then he also addresses Vivi as Master Vivi. And then he meets all the other guys and he addresses them accordingly. So they do a good job with that, especially Vivi too. A lot of the interactions between Vivi, he's just so kind-hearted that he literally goes to each character and he just treats them with respect regardless of where they come from. And then, like, other instances, you have Zidane and Freyr, like, when they first meet up again, right before the hunting marathon thing that they had in Limblum. They're just sitting at the bar and like, oh, it's you again. So there's some pretty good, like, introductions and stuff as that game goes on. And then 8 is definitely them all interacting with each other, especially when you consider their backstories. They were all in an orphanage together,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. And pretty
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah, considering how they forgot and what and the reason behind why they forgot and so forth and so forth and so forth. Anyway. Love that game.
All right, Jess Brandon, since you like those the most about Final Fantasy X, what is then your least favorite thing about Final Fantasy X?
Let's see. Probably
Slug.
just that I don't like having to do the monster hunting. It's just
So the end game.
yeah, I feel like it's like, oh, I've got a 10-hour thing I gotta do now if you're at the end game to get all the best stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so, yeah. And there's not like a good way of speeding it up. Like there's
Honestly,
yeah.
I didn't mind it that much. If I remember correctly. I hated the lightning part, but then you figure out the little trick.
I don't mind the mini games too much, because now I'm good at them. In the last playthrough, I got through them pretty quick. But there's no way to speed up the monster hunting. I guess if I played it on PC, no, just capturing 10 of each thing, like in the whole game.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. I forgot about that part, but now it sounds familiar.
Yeah, so just like gotta go dedicate. Yeah.
Well, that's just it. Like to finish Final Fantasy X, you had to capture 10 of each creature to unlock all the creatures in the monster tent. But then to beat the monster tent, you had to unlock everybody's ultimate weapon. To unlock everybody's ultimate weapon, you had to go catch a bunch of stupid butterflies. You had to dodge lightning. You had to get 0.00 seconds in a stupid chocobo race. That one is the worst one. I swear I hate that one so much.
Yeah, but at least on my last playthrough, all those added together was shorter than the monster hunting.
Well, they would be, because you have to grind out those monsters, and then it's random encounters. So if one of those monsters is harder to get to in a certain area, then you're just basically stuck praying that it shows up 10 times.
Yeah, I think if I played on PC and I could speed it up like 4x, but I was playing on the Switch, which you can't speed it up. And so
can you speed it up on PC?
I think so, at least from what I've heard.
Because I haven't been able to speed it. Well, maybe. I don't know. I haven't really tried.
Maybe you need a mod. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You know you can speed up the summons in Final Fantasy VIII?
Yes, you can. It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, random.
And then
I do that.
But then you got to play Blitzball too, right? To get Wakka's ultimate weapon.
Blitzball!
Yeah. But I don't mind Blitzball. I guess I'm okay with it.
If I remember that one wasn't too bad.
But when you think about just the culmination of all of these things you have to do to clear the Monster Hunter tent, like that is an exhausting thing. And then on top of that, if you are an achievement hunter in this game, give it up.
Oh yeah.
Because you have to fill out the sphere grid.
I'm never doing
top to
that.
bottom with every single character, and that includes the empty nodes. So you have to find spheres to activate all of the empty nodes and fill them in.
I think I did that. I think I did that.
You're a masochist.
I'm a completist.
Like it's just insane.
I spent a lot of hours on that game.
It's just insane the number of things that endgame wants you to do. And it's just not a good enough payout. Now, if all the characters got together and did a crazy celebration dance for 5 minutes and then threw you a parade, maybe that would be worth it.
Yeah.
And then I will say this, Yevon is a really stupid final boss.
Maybe.
Jack is great. Jack is probably the real final boss. I get Yevon's probably more of like a symbolic gesture than anything.
And then the cutscene after, that's engraved in my memory.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The payout.
Story, Brandon, come on!
Yeah, like I'll sometimes just go watch that cutscene and cry a little bit.
Yeah.
Just like once a year.
Yeah, but Yevon wasn't that great of a boss fight, especially since you couldn't technically die.
Yeah, I liked fighting the Aeons because it felt sad. Um, but
Getting them
yeah,
all
once it
killed.
was just
Yeah.
you, Yevon, I think if you, Yevon, was like a one-hit kill, it's like, well, you've made it all the way through this, and at the end, he's just like a weak guy that just kill him.
Well, that's to
That
say,
would
if you
have
do
been
the end
given.
game stuff, yeah, he is a one-hit kill. He
I
only
guess
has
so, yeah.
If you go and just
99,999 health.
buff up everybody, it's just like, oh, okay, I just killed the blob. I remember it just being like this orb.
Yeah,
It's
he's
been a
just.
while. Is
Yeah.
it just like some kind of orb?
I think he's.
It's like a blob.
He's
Yeah.
like a blob,
Okay.
but like I think right before it shows it, he's like this parasite almost, just for a second.
Ah,
Yeah, he's
Okay.
like a glyph-looking blob.
interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the point though. Like if him being like at the center of sin and being a parasite is because he's been using sin to like spread the mischief across
That
the land and to have that control.
Bastard. That bastard.
Yeah, and I think that's also why, like I said, it's more of a symbolic gesture to fight him because he's incredibly weak because sin was what was making him strong in the first place. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah. I think
So-
it should have just been like he has one hit point and you just attack him and then it's over.
Yeah, like the finale in Final Fantasy VII.
I was gonna say I was gonna just compare that.
Yeah.
It's like that very last fight, and it's like you can't lose.
You can't lose, but that's because the fight, again, it's just like Jack, the fight before it was a lot tougher.
Oh yes, and that one is
With the
also
One Ring
memorable.
Angel, and then it was also a lot harder if your level
And
got
it's-
higher.
And it splits your party into two.
Yeah.
Love it. Or is it three? I think it's
Yeah.
three. I think if you have all the
Exactly.
characters, it's three different groups.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
Anyway.
10 basically has a symbolic final fight gesture, and so does 7. Now, I did like 7's a little bit more because the Omni / finale is just fantastic. It just looks so cool to see. But, fun fact though, if you don't do anything and you let Sephiroth attack Cloud will counterattack and just hit him normal and it kills him.
Nice.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know
Like I
that.
said, you
Did you
cannot
figure that one
lose.
out?
Yeah, you cannot lose that fight.
Yeah. Okay.
I was curious one time, and so I just did nothing, and that's what happens. And you can't control the counterattack. I didn't have counterattack like in my materia or anything like that. It just does it for you.
I thought even if you're just fighting normally, doesn't
Yeah.
he
Even if-
automatically counter too?
Yeah. People.
Okay.
Like it just doesn't matter. Like you can attack him with anything you want to kill him, or you can do what you're supposed to do, which is use the limit break Omnislash to do the cool kill. But I think Sephiroth in that last fight has literally 1 health, and no matter what you do, he's going to lose.
You go down.
Yeah.
Gonna
So,
kiss the ground and
Which
bleed
is
a little.
why I'm going to bring up my next point, that Final Fantasy 9 and 8's finales are better
Then
than 10's
10?
and 7's in terms of
Oh,
the final boss
boy.
fights.
Like the final boss fight?
oh, I
Yes.
thought you meant like the ending, like cinematics. I was gonna disagree
Ooh.
there.
Yeah, that's a tough
Tens,
one.
tens is very
10's is very good.
emotional.
Yeah. I guess if you count like the Yu Yevon fight as the final boss fight, then yeah, probably.
Well, I'm talking about final boss fights in general. 13's, which I can't tell Brand's, was there.
Okay.
13
12's
was okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, it was there. 12
It was there.
12's was a little tedious. 12's 12 had this big problem with high hit points on a lot of fights.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man.
But,
Like I tried playing that as a kid, but it was just terrible. And now I played it as an adult with the 4x speed, and it was still too slow. I need like 20x speed for that.
Note to self, if I ever play it again.
I think it's worth playing again, but that's a whole nother subject. But yeah, no, 9's
Yes.
with like Kuja in the finale. That was
Kuja is memorable to begin with.
Yeah.
Kuja's surprising because
Oh.
when I first played it as a kid, I really hated Kuja. Just
Oh.
I didn't want to play the game because I just thought he was just this pretty little rodent.
Oh, see, just like Seymour, he fascinated me. So
Seymour is very similar to Kuja.
yeah,
Think about that.
exactly. Like it's like
So.
these villains are interesting. Huh.
Yeah,
Stop talking.
but I think the reason why I really like resonated so well with Final Fantasy VIII's finale is because all 3 of those fights you could lose and you could die, and if
my
your
gosh.
character did die, they were out permanently. You couldn't revive them. There was no
They
auto-life.
were intense.
Especially when you're younger and you don't really know the mechanics and you don't know about like overpowering your characters and stuff. And you're
Yeah, especially like the first run through, and we didn't really like OP the characters, and we just went in there and we're just like, "What's going on? What's going on? Oh my god!"
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
when your character dies and they get swept away, and you're like,
the
"Come
little
back."
angel just comes in and just takes the life
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, and you're just like, "Oh no!"
Oh crap! And you're just like, oh crap! Are they even going to be back for the finale? Like, if we win this fight, are they gone forever?
Yeah.
You don't know. And like when Ultimacia summons Grendel or whatever it is into the second summon, I remember that first time he did Shockwave Pulsar and he obliterated all 3 of them at once. I was like, oh crap!
Yep.
And it's not game over. The angels come and pick him up, and it's like, next up, let's go.
At least they did. At least they do that. I thought that was actually really cool. How it's like, well, it's not just game over with what the first initial 3 people that you have. It's like, oh, you get another chance. Let's bring in the next, 3 people.
Yeah, and then just the
Don't
finale,
die.
the first fight, and yeah, it was great. It was a fantastic final, and I think that's the thing about the Final Fantasy. They like to do the final boss fights in a series of 3s a lot.
Yeah,
Like
it's
10
yeah. You beat the first one. You're like, okay, next.
Yeah, you're prepared for it because like by the time I finished 10, I was like, okay, Seymour is the first one. Okay, who's next? Oh, Jack. Okay, who's the next? Oh, the big villain.
The Blob.
Oh, Yevon. The Blob.
The blob. Oh, the blob is nothing. Bring back Jack.
Yeah. Bring
Let me
back the
pick him
Jack
again.
music.
Yeah. So that was great though. Allie, what's your favorite? What's the greatest Final Fantasy you've ever played? And give me the one reason why. You're up.
That is hard because they're all good in their own ways. Final Fantasy VIII it's the very first one I played that we played. So
Yeah.
it's got a very special place in my heart. I can see why people don't like it though nowadays. But
I can't. People are stupid.
I'll just say 8, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of crap for that, but I'm a sucker for love stories, and that one's a love story. So I can keep. Do you want me to keep going?
I mean, a lot of them are love stories, though, right? Zidane, he has a love story. Squall has a love story. Laguna has a love story. Cloud has a love story, but it's not like it's not as
I
traditional.
would say
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII irritates me actually in that sense.
Yes.
Let's not go there.
You can date Barrett. Where's my Barrett Cloud love story? Come on.
I actually was talking to my friends about this the other day. It's like I honestly wish Cloud would just pick one girl and go with it, and I know it would piss off so many people. But I'm just so over it. I'm so over the triangle. I'm like, no, I'm done. Just pick someone, please,
it's
and
not
let's
a
just
triangle,
go with it.
though. It's a square. Barrett deserves to be mentioned in this. You can date Barrett, guys. So if you can date
But
Barrett,
there's no. Maybe Barrett and Cloud, but Barrett and the other girls? No, there's nothing there, Brad. Right?
That's true. Well, I guess when you say triangle, I was thinking more of like everyone's just fighting for Cloud's affection. Not so much like the weird, like...
I mean, if that's the case, then you might as well throw all the other characters at him.
And you see, you can't say it's a love triangle because Tifa and Aerith, they're not trying to score with each other, which would make for a very fun and delightful game, but that's not important.
I mean, some people would actually really, really like that.
I bet there's already fan
I can't blame them.
that.
Oh, for sure.
I bet they made that love triangle happen for you, Allie.
Probably. I know it's out there.
I'm not gonna
I
look that
was just
up,
gonna say no. Like, I guess I shouldn't make it a triangle because, to be fair, like everyone in that game is Cloud sexual. Let's be honest here.
You think Red 13 is Cloud sexual?
I could see
I mean, they
it.
do share the fact that they
mean-
were both experimented on, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Aerith's like,
oh,
hey.
you know,
Tifa's
you
like,
might be onto
hey.
something. I just realized how
Frost is like,
Cloud's...
hey.
Yeah, I just realized
really
how
pull it together.
Cloud sexual Sephiroth is.
Yeah.
Man, he's
That's what
super
I'm
Cloud
saying.
sexy. He
Yeah.
actually probably
Jesse's
wants
like,
Cloud.
hey. Like, come on.
Well, you know what? Can I just say this though? For Jessie's character, I loved her in the remake. Like,
He
I
is
just
a
thought,
lot more fleshed out, and it's amazing.
yeah, it's great. Even Wedge and Biggs felt a lot more tangible in that sense.
Yeah.
But Jessie like stole my heart in the remake.
I figured she would. That type of personality.
Yeah,
I don't
she
even
was-
know who Jesse is
Wait a
because
second.
I haven't played the remake.
Well,
Have you
it's-
played the original?
Yeah,
Jessie-
who's
Je-
Jesse?
Oh my god.
Jesse's one of the people from the very beginning that are part of Avalanche that helped Barrett.
Oh, okay.
There's
Yeah,
Okay.
Wedge, Biggs, and Jesse.
Even in the original, I know who Jessie is.
Yeah, I forgot.
How dare you?
Yeah, well, it's okay because if you ever get a chance to play the remake, Brandon, her character is a lot more present in the remake. I would
Okay.
argue she's actually just one of like the main characters in that game for
Nice.
the longest time. Yeah, it's really
They
great.
make like most, if not all, the characters feel like main characters. To be fair, so it's pretty cool how they just basically said, okay, we're gonna give everyone more personality.
Yeah, and your friend didn't like the game, and just Brandon, you have some weird friends, man. Who doesn't like that remake?
I know of some people. I know of at least one person that was kind of disappointed in it. Actually,
Yeah, and we'll get back to that, but yeah, what were we talking about?
we talk about love stories, and then
Love
I was
stories.
saying I don't know. I think with Final Fantasy VIII, it was just it was a slow going. Like I want this to work out, and then I feel like with the ending, and just how it all came together finally
No.
with that crazy ass ending, like it just made it so cool, so memorable. Like I was saying earlier, just raw feelings the whole time I was watching it, and it's just like, best love story ever. But then again, this is like, how old were we? I was like 12.
I think I was 10, 9.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
8.
Yep.
I
That
was
sounds
the one who
about
beat it
right.
originally, so
I think I was 12,
yeah.
and it was just like something else then.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's other love stories for sure, and they too made me feel good. But this one since it was like incorporated into the ending, with the ending being just so intense and like memorable, I think it just made it that much better.
Yeah.
So
I will say this, Final Fantasy VIII is my favorite as well, and it could be because I played it first. I don't know if that's necessarily the reason, but there are two things, like what I will say is the greatest reason why Final Fantasy VIII, I will argue, is the greatest thing, and they're a little bit different, alright? The first reason is because Final Fantasy VIII is the greatest soap opera of any game. Not just Final
Yeah.
Fantasy series, but of all the games I've ever played in my life, there is nothing better than a good soap opera, and Final Fantasy VIII is the perfect soap opera. I have never seen a game with so many ridiculous, over-the-top moments that somehow work. And how many times a character you think is dead, and it turns out they're not dead. It is a soap opera from head to toe, and it is perfect because of that.
Yeah, I can see that.
I was gonna say, yeah, yeah, for sure. But I'm glad they made things work though, or else it would have just been a bunch of nonsense.
Well, I mean, when we throw this in, right? Let me spell this out for you, all right? A bunch of teenagers are training to become elite assassins and to do jobs across the world for their headmaster guy. This headmaster guy ends up training these people to become, seeds, or rather assassins, and his goal is to someday have them assassinate a sorceress. But did you know that the sorceress is actually their adoptive parents?
Yeah.
And even better, the headmaster married the sorceress.
Like it's his wife.
Right? And did you know that the headmaster is not actually the real headmaster of Balam Garden,
Oh
but
my
rather the
God.
real headmaster is living in the basement this whole time?
Yeah, and he's a lovely little creature. Let me say that right now.
And did you know that this same headmaster gives Squall, the main character, a magic lamp which takes him to literally the depths of hell where you have to fight Diablo?
So dramatic.
It is. And I mean, you set up like the love stories and all of this stuff, and then it just turns out like you literally have to go to space now. You gotta go to space to save the woman you love.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
pretty good.
greatest soap opera I
I
have
think
ever
that
experienced.
that was one of the things people complained about was like the story with the sorceresses and all that and time travel and then yeah, like you just said, people going to space. Like it was just kind of like all
I
over
can
the
explain it.
place.
I can explain it all. I'm
Oh,
absolutely ready.
let's do
It's
it.
not even that complicated, man. It's so simple.
Well,
Look, it's
see,
just
like me.
Ultimacia wants to get Ellen to use her powers to go back in time and to basically take over everything. And she
Yep.
also has the ability to take over other sorceresses, which is why Sid set up the entire thing in the first place. The whole reason why he did this is because he knows that someday his wife might come to try to take it over and kill him. And guess what happens? Ultimacia is using the other sorceresses to do her bidding. And Adia, or Matron as we call her, is in under that spell.
Yep.
I don't understand why this is so hard to understand.
Maybe that's well. It
And, like,
can
here-
be.
And
I
like,
can see
here's
why.
the thing, right? Final Fantasy VIII, yeah, okay, it's a little bit over the top at times and has time paradoxes and yada yada yada. But can we be real here for a second and just say, for every time that someone complains about Final Fantasy VIII, they have no right to complain about the story being weird and hard to grasp at times, when they absolutely love Final Fantasy VII and will defend that to the death about how its story isn't confusing when it is absolutely bonkers.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's such a confusing story that they had to make several other games to explain the frickin' story.
Or you have to go back and play the original game a few times before it all finally clicks in. Like, oh, I mean, that's
yeah.
like typical for honestly any game, or
Yeah.
movie or book. But
Yeah, I mean, but I always found that weird. People always like complain about Final Fantasy VIII story, but then everybody seems to love Final Fantasy VII's. When Final Fantasy VII's, I would argue, is more convoluted than 8.
yeah, it definitely took a couple playthroughs to understand what the heck was going on, for sure.
There was this YouTube video I watched, and it was Final Fantasy VII's story explained in 20 minutes, and he got to the 11-minute mark and then said, "Now the game begins for Final Fantasy VII."
Nice.
Wow.
Because that's how much backstory he had to give context, proper
Yep.
context to the original game.
Yep. And that's why they had to come out with all these other side games to fill in those gaps
That's right.
right before you can get to the actual original game content. So I've done a lot of research on that game.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like you have to dig in and like go and play the extra games. You have to actually even like read up on some stuff because it is confusing. And then until you can like get all the stories put together and anyway,
Oh yeah.
you're right though.
Yeah. I know, because it's a pain. To be a Final Fantasy fan is a pain in the butt sometimes. But
You could be a Dark Souls fan. Try to figure out those stories. Good luck.
No. Nah. I'm just gonna praise the sun and be happy.
Praise the sun.
Praise
I
the
will
sun!
stab you in the back later, but praise the sun.
That's right. Oh my gosh.
Oh no, not you too, no. Sorry.
Alright, so which
Completely
Final Fantasy has the best minigame?
9.
Oh,
The
that's a tough
chocobo
one.
hunting treasure one.
Ooh.
That's
Is
That's
that
the
your
most
favorite?
memorable one for me. I just love doing that one.
That was pretty fun.
Sorry, I threw that one at you earlier. It was my favorite. I love doing it.
I don't know, man. The triple triad card game from Final Fantasy VIII.
That's pretty good too.
I might have to vote for that one.
That one's pretty good. And a lot of people are trying to say that 9's card game is better than 8's, and I just want to say that if you think that, you're wrong. I respect your opinion, but your opinion is wrong.
That is wrong because I don't even remember 9's. I totally actually forgot they even had a card game.
It was a really stupid card game where it gives you a bunch of random symbols, and you have to figure out what those symbols mean, but it doesn't give you any context to figure out what it means, and then you play the cards and they battle it out. Like, one will be 30 and one will be 12, and the numbers will go down, and whoever has the highest number flips that card. And then you got to use, depending on where your arrows are, you can flip other cards. But it was stupid because for the longest time, you just didn't know how good your card was unless you figured out what those numbers and symbols and letters meant.
Yep, unforgettable.
Yeah.
Obviously, I forgot. I seriously forgot that it even existed.
No.
Chocobo for the win. Yeah. Go hunt my treasure chest. Get out of my way, bitches.
What about you?
Yeah, triple triad for me. No, I mean, Blitzball's fine, but triple triad is the best one by far.
Blitzball!
Well, just also the way you got some of those cards in Final Fantasy VIII was phenomenal, right?
Yeah. The way you had to get them.
Like, I remember the first time I got Quistis's card, right? And it was just, I was in the cafeteria wondering if Zell was ever going to get his hot dogs.
Say Zell and his damn hot dogs.
And then there's this guy. He's just hunched over here, leaning back in his chair, and I'm challenging him to cards. All of a sudden, he pulls out the Quistis card. I'm like, what? How is this possible? Then I start talking to him, and he's like, oh, Quistis Trip, Instructor Trip. Oh, how I love thee. I just want to marry you someday. And all these people are like, snap out of it. Stop obsessing over the teacher. That dude was hot for teacher, okay? He was very much hot for teacher. So I'm not surprised now, given the context, that he had her card. But it was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Continue.
Or with the time I remember when I found Poo Poo the alien, and you complete his quest line and you get his card. Phenomenal.
Oh my gosh, I forgot.
Oh yeah, by the way, Final Fantasy VIII is
all these memories come back.
Oh yeah. Did I mention that Final Fantasy VIII, guys, is the greatest soap opera ever because it has literally extraterrestrial life forms in it? The greatest soap opera ever. And it's like, hey Brandon, you know how we finished Alien Isolation?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember when you're in space and you have to fight basically the xenomorphs in Final Fantasy VIII? Because I do. Because Final Fantasy VIII is the greatest soap opera of all time.
Yeah.
And everything comes together.
And everything comes together now.
And that's what makes it beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You name it, Final Fantasy VIII's got it. You like time travel? Final Fantasy VIII's got it.
You want to go to space to save your girlfriend?
You got it. You want to get impaled through the chest and live to tell the tale? Final Fantasy VIII's got it.
With an icicle, even.
With an icicle. Oh, yeah. Yep. That's right. You want to have the stereotypical cliche of having amnesia? Final Fantasy VIII's got you covered.
You want to shoot your dog like it's a cannon at an enemy across the board?
Cheers, baby.
It's got it.
Final Fantasy VIII's got it, man. It has everything. You want a fat chocobo? Well, we've got it, baby, here in Final Fantasy VIII.
You want a guy choking on just a random hot dog in the cafeteria?
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VIII's got it.
Do you want to be chased by a giant robotic spider and try not to get caught by it?
Oh my god.
Fantasy VIII's got it.
Anxiety through the roof, right there.
Hey guys, you want to go to college, like a university, and then have that university literally be able to fly through the freaking air? Well, great news for you. Play a game called Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh my gosh.
Why have airships when you can lift up the whole freaking campus? I mean, that's
true.
The best soap opera of all time. I'm telling you, it's Final Fantasy.
Worth it.
Absolutely worth it. It is a masterpiece in my opinion because you'll never get a game like that again. It's like they took every idea that people had and they said, let's do it. It's all good. There is no such thing as a bad idea in this game. Let's do it.
Do it. Go for it. Make a masterpiece.
Yeah. But yeah,
and
I don't. And here's the sad thing is, The mini games almost kind of went away for a little bit. I feel like in what was the mini game in 12?
Was there even one?
That's my point. I don't think there was one, right?
Yeah.
It was
And I don't consider trying to find the ultimate weapons a mini game.
Yeah.
I usually consider that a chore because they're usually annoyingly hard to do.
Oh, yeah.
And 13 was a lot more linear. And you didn't get that much free time till like 30 hours in.
That was kind of one of the things I disliked about 13.
Right. So, and then 15, you did get a mini game. You were able to do fishing at least.
And cooking? I heard you can do cooking.
It's fake cooking.
Lame sauce.
Yeah, like you just have to have the ingredients and the guy makes it for you.
No, I want to. No.
Yeah, at least
Let me
that's how I
throw the
remember
ingredients
it.
into the pot like you do in Breath of the Wild. That was fun.
That was fun. So,
What can I make today? Oh God, I'm not eating that.
but yeah. So yeah, they had a really great thing going on back in that PlayStation 1 era where they just had these awesome mini games in all of the games. Like even Final Fantasy 7, like they were kind of like mini games, but they were also kind of a pain. Like do you guys remember in Final Fantasy 7 where you had to try to match what all the army was doing, like match the commands?
I hated that.
Oh yeah.
Or the trying to figure out how to get the black chocobo and the gold chocobo, and you had
I
to
was
do the
okay with
chocobo
that.
races.
Or
Yeah,
just
that was
everything when you were getting the clothes and the outfits you need.
And you had to do the squad battle. Squad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Squad. Like that's like the little bit of silliness that makes those games, in my opinion, special. Is when you get that little bit of silliness for how intense Sephiroth is. I love Sephiroth, but it's the silliness in the moments. It's the charm. That's what really makes you feel like you're going on an adventure, right? Is when you have those moments. Like for all people criticize Titus's and Yuna's little laugh moment. That to me, though, like Brandon was saying when we were talking a month ago, that is an integral part of Final Fantasy X, and nobody is going to forget that moment because that really helps captivate the relationship they had.
Yeah, I was just going to say that even if that laugh is horrible, that's a pivotal moment in that game. So.
Good character building.
It is good character building. And I love Auron, though. Auron is just...
Auron, he was my favorite.
Yeah. He's just amazing.
Freaking badass.
He is. He's a bamf.
Yeah.
Well, so the thing that I like the most about Auron is that he's like this stoic, cool guy through the whole game, and then he gets to the end, and you see like all the things he went through on his pilgrimage. He's like, and I remember they called him Legendary Guardian at one point. He's like, Legendary Guardian, I was just a boy about your age. I just really liked how he seemed stoic the whole time, and then you got to see the glimpses of his emotional side at the end.
Yep. Oh yeah. Well, that dude's been through the ringer, and,
Yep.
and that's a dude that had a zero what's to give at the point, because like when you replay that, there are so many things that you don't appreciate that you grow to appreciate more in that game. Like when Xanakin is first getting attacked and Auron sees Sin coming along, he's about to just unleash hell upon Xanakin, and you know what he does?
He's like, hey.
He literally grabs his little whiskey mug and just holds it up to him like, cheers, let's go!
like salute. Let's do this.
But then you realize, though, that's exactly what he was there for, is he was waiting for that moment because Jack asked him to be there. And so he's not doing that because he's getting ready for the attack. He's doing that to say hello to his friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, it's just those little small special things. And like, even like when I went back and replayed the game, like when Seymour is talking to Auron, and he asks him, why, if you don't mind me asking, why are you still here?
Here, yeah.
We, Guado, are keen to the scent of the dead or whatever.
Far plane.
The far plane. That's right. They didn't want to say dead because they didn't want to give it away.
Yeah.
So they said
because he was the guardian of all guardians. He was amazing.
And the reason why he was there is because he had that unfinished business, because he made those promises.
He made a promise.
To Braska and to Jack.
Yep.
Yeah, I think 10 had, well, I mean, 10's my favorite, but part of it was because it had the best secrets and the best reveals, I think. Just, I don't know. I mean, I
What?
could
You mean
always
Final
list the good
Fantasy?
things I liked, but
You mean Final Fantasy VIII's orphanage reveal wasn't good enough for you? That's a
I guess
pretty
it was
dang.
fine.
That was a big one,
That
and
was
it was
Yeah.
like,
pretty.
oh.
Okay, one last question before we go, because we've been talking about it, is, guys, I want to know what's your most underrated Final Fantasy game that you've played. Which game do you think deserves more love than what it has received? Obviously, we like 8, but I feel like 8's got a decent following these days, right? So, I'm not going to say 8.
I was gonna pick 8 because, I don't know, I feel like when I talk to most people, 8 is the one that gets looked over. But
This is true. This is true. And it's sad because it really doesn't deserve that.
yeah.
Like I think the reason why people look it over because they have complaints about the junction system and that it's completely broken, which yes,
Ye-
it is. But that's also, in my opinion, it's an advantage to it because it allows you to manipulate the game in any way you want.
Yes.
There's actually an achievement in Final Fantasy VIII on PC now where you can, it says beat the game with Squall without leveling him up once. They are
Nice.
fully aware that the junction system is broken, and they want you to break it and have him win. They beat the entire game without him leveling up.
I was gonna say, I feel like the junction, yeah, the system itself, like, I was okay with it. And I think
Well,
maybe it's because I did tweak it enough to where it's like you're just OP. Or like
well, not only
immune
that.
to certain things.
Well, not only that, I can also argue for Final Fantasy VIII's the junction system. Another reason why I love this game, why it's the greatest Final Fantasy of all time, is because they are human. Right? These people are weak. Even in the game, it says the only reason why you have the strength that you have is because you are relying on the power of the Guardians. But it is coming at a cost. It is literally going to deteriorate your memory.
Your
Because
mind.
you have to rely on the power of these basically godlike creatures to help you defeat literally a summoner that is trying to destroy the world and manipulate time itself to do so.
That
And so,
was well put. That just
yeah.
basically summed it up right there.
And so you literally have to do whatever it takes, and that includes using the junction system, using the strength of these guardians to be able to stand up against the evil. But you are human. I remember when I first played this game, I had no idea how to use the junction system, Allie. I'm literally just summoning enemies trying to get through each fight because I was so unbelievably weak. They never get strong. Not once does Squall ever get to 9,999 anything on his own. His max health is like 2,000 by the end of it if you level up to level 100 in that game.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they are weak. And that's what I
Yep.
love about Final Fantasy VIII and that junction system is it's not their strength. Like in so many of these Final Fantasy games, they can do the unthinkable by almost a default. Even though they're supposed to be just humans. Not in 8. In 8, you are human. And if you try try beating the game without the summons, you will fail. You will just die. You'll never get past disc 1.
Yep. Pretty much.
Underrated masterpiece. Okay, Allie, what's an underrated Final Fantasy game that you love?
I loved 12.
Heck yeah, now we're talking 12, baby.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I
Our
know
experimental
it's slow
action
going.
RPG, baby.
I know it's slow going. But I loved the characters enough, and I loved the interactions and I don't know, why did I love it so much?
Because it's a good story.
I was just getting to that next. It's just besides the fighting system, the rest of it is good. I promise.
I disliked the characters.
Oh, I liked them.
Okay.
I like them. They were...
I didn't care much for like what is it, Penelope?
Penelo and
Vaughn.
Vaughn.
Penelo and Vaughn.
Yeah, they
I
seem
didn't
like they were
care.
just added on for no reason.
Yeah, and they're like Vaughn's supposed to be like the main character. No. Just don't care about him. Focus on
Yep.
Ash and Balthier, and you're good.
To be fair, though, again, kind of like with Brandon's argument for 10 is he's talking about how it really makes sure you feel like every single character is included. 12 does that same thing. For better or for
Yes.
worse, whether or not you like
Yep.
it, you start with Penelo and Vaughn. And I will agree
Yep.
with you. I do not consider them the main characters. But you start with them, and you get to see where they come from, how they're in the slums, and how they're trying to get out of there, and have tried to possibly lead a revolt, and they're waiting for someone to come along until, Ash comes along, and Ash is the main character.
She's the main character.
Ash is a BAMF.
Damn right.
And
Yeah.
then you meet all the other characters like Balthier, and it's just,
That's fun.
yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
He adds the flair for sure.
Oh yeah.
What can you expect from a pirate, though, right?
And to a certain extent, you have to kind of expect the change of pace to be there. I mean, action RPGs were not nearly what they are today. This isn't the only game where it was kind of weird where you go up to an enemy and you don't just attack them. It does it for you. You know what I'm saying? You kind of just have to let the battle play out almost.
The formula in and let them go.
If you guys remember, though, there are a lot of games during that time that did this. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is another example where it's like, go, fight, do your thing. Why are you missing? No. But
Why are you missed? Why?
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of action RPGs during that time were doing that. The reason why I think they were doing that is because they didn't have the technological stuff we do now, where you can play like Final Fantasy VII Remakes, where it's quick and it's fast paced and it's beautiful. It's perfect. I love it. But yeah. So to me, my underrated Final Fantasy game, pick one. Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon. What a great game.
Okay.
No, Mystery Dungeon games are fun though. You should seriously try it out. I'd say Final Fantasy Tactics.
I was gonna say Tactics. Yep.
Yep. Probably one of the best Final Fantasies of all time. Probably in my top 5. And it pisses me off that nobody's played it.
I tried.
Yeah, I recently was trying to figure out how to play it, and I'm like, how am I even going to play this?
Yeah. And Brandon, let me just tell you exactly why you would love it. It's chess.
Yeah, I know. It looks like the type of game I would like.
Oh yeah, it's chess. It's a strategy RPG, and it is phenomenal. And I absolutely love Ramza and Delita. And when I got their trading cards, I was so happy.
Yeah, I'm just not sure I want to play it on my phone.
Yeah, I don't know if I would either. I keep hoping they'll remaster it, because it's really hard to explain like why it's amazing, because you have to spend at least 2 to 3 hours before it clicks, because when you first play the game, it is a little bit off-putting.
Mm-hmm.
And it does, but to kind of go along
Maybe
with
that's why I didn't get into it, because it was just like, what the hell am I doing?
It's not what you're expecting from a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
Because when it came out, you were so used to turn-based RPGs that followed a very similar structure. Tactics said, yeah, screw that structure. We're doing strategy RPGs now. But here's the cool thing about it, and this is something else that Brandon will appreciate, is like Fire Emblem, Allie, this game features permadeath for most of the characters. You get to literally go individually.
Really?
Yes,
that fascinates me, actually.
Yes.
I should start playing those games.
Yeah, you get to go in, you get to individually, though, name your characters in Tactics. So you can call him Bilbo and all these other things. You get to choose their job.
Oh, Bilbo, no!
Yeah, that's what I did. You get to choose archer, thief, knight, dancer. You'll unlock more jobs like that. And then you send them out, and you get to grind them, you get to level them up, you get to build them up, you go to boss fights, and they get knocked down, and if you don't revive them within like 3 turns, they're gone.
Wow.
You do not get them back.
It's actually pretty cool.
But it's really cool because you can
really
go,
sad at the same time.
You can go and you can actually hire more soldiers to fight for you, and then you get to give them names and you get to give them jobs. So you get to treat it like Game of Thrones. Maybe, this is why I love killing characters in Fire Emblem, Brandon.
Oh, because of this
Really?
game.
It's Tactics. Oh my gosh, I never made that connection because this is when I started killing them all.
Gotta love him.
Oh my gosh, so that's why Tactics is one of the best. It's because you get to kill all your characters. Now, obviously, Ramza, if he dies, it's game over. But
No, I'm resetting if someone dies.
No, but here's the thing. You
Oh,
don't. They don't have the same story aspects like you can get with Fire Emblem characters, though. And I think that's what also makes it great, though, is because you could just call them Doofus, and Doofus dies, and you just go, yeah, well, Doofus was a Doofus.
Nice.
Oh, and did I mention there's this job called a mediator in the game where you can literally recruit the monsters you fight to fight for you? So you can have like an army of chocobos in fights and just have them go to town.
that sounds
And
fun.
Marlboros and bombs and all the enemies. Yeah, you can literally, they become part of your party for the entire game if you want them to.
Hey, Doofus, summon the chocobos.
No, the chocobos are just, they act like a character after you acquire them.
Oh,
They
okay,
take up a
gotcha.
slot, so you can just have chocobos. You can have black
Oh,
chocobo.
that'd be funny. Just have an
Yeah.
army of chocobos for
And
your.
yes, you can also ride the chocobos in fights too, and you can hop off them, and then the chocobo can go and attack from one side, and you could go pincer from the other.
Oh, so chocobos are an
Effective.
advantage. Yeah,
Yes, and they give you more spaces to run around and move in the thing, like you would expect. It increases your mobility.
that sounds nice.
It is. Like Final Fantasy Tactics was such an amazing game for its time, and it still holds up. I will argue on so many ways. Just the fact that I could have a Marlboro as my teammate,
Oh,
10 out of 10.
Yep.
I
Hoping
don't like
for a
those
master.
guys.
So I don't have to play it on my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So-
phone games are no bueno. But whatever.
But guys, we are out of time. We
We
out
are?
of time now. Yeah, it's
Can I
been
cry?
over an hour, but this is the longest we've been
Or
recording.
overtime.
We're
I
over
can
time
keep
at this
going.
point.
Let's just keep
No,
going. It's
we're gonna
fine.
stop there because then we can talk more Final Fantasy down the road. We've only
I
touched
know.
the tip of the iceberg. We're all in agreement though that 10 is an amazing masterpiece, 8 is an amazing masterpiece, despite what people will say, and Tactics
Brandon
is
would-
the best
would
hidden
say.
gem. Yeah,
No,
Yeah.
I liked 8.
yeah.
Eight.
He just
Eight.
didn't like it as much as 10, which is fair.
Yeah.
10's amazing.
10 is just the best game ever, and then 8's pretty good.
But guys,
Uh,
thank you for this whole let's just talk about shoot the breeze with Final Fantasy for the last hour.
let's do it
Uh,
again.
Yeah, we'll do it again. Next time we won't be talking Final Fantasy for an hour though. We do have to talk about other things, not just Final
Chrono
Fantasy.
Cross.
Brandon, have you played Chrono Cross?
Another memorable
I don't
game.
think so. Wait, which one is
Not
Chrono Cross?
Trigger.
Yeah, okay. I have
Chrono-
not played Chrono Cross.
It's a
I've played
surgeon
Chrono
kid.
Trigger.
No, I played
Everyone's
both.
played Chrono Trigger, and everyone loves Chrono Trigger.
Whatever. Chrono Cross is just as good.
Thank you, Brad.
Yep.
Love you.
Played them both. Love them both. I'm here for
Good
it.
times.
All right, guys, that's it for us. Thank you again for listening in on this. I am Bradley Overrated. This was Chatterbox, and I am out like a trout. Praise be to Yevon.
Peace out.